Rugby Up viewers, welcome back. Another episode, another week of Springbok rugby. And I have to be honest, it's very nice to be a Springbok fan in these times. How are you doing? Did you enjoy the game last week?
Very fantastic. The question is that you enjoy the game. You were at the stadium. Tell us, what was the atmosphere?
The atmosphere was incredible. I have to be honest. The French really know how to do it. The only issue that I have with it is the fact that the game is at 9 o'clock in the evening, which is absolutely brutal for any Springbok fan who loves to start their braai early. When it came to 9 o'clock, I was singing the French anthem as well. It was it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's obviously the French started like a house on fire, and we kind of predicted it. Ramos
Yeah.
having an extremely good game. So the fans were quite into it, and then slowly but surely, the start of France fell silent as the Boks just started to roll over them.
I'm very jealous, Guri. I have to be honest. For some reason, I don't know, with this whole Rossi era, like, look, don't get me wrong. Yes, we've had one or two unexpected games that didn't go our way, but just had this calmness over me and felt like, look,
Mm,
the boys are going to pull it through. We're going to pull it through. It's like the same as
yeah.
the All Blacks 2 years ago in the Cape Town Stadium. It was like we were struggling and we just pulled it through. But anyways,
Mm,
not to talk too much about last week. The focus
uh,
now is on Italy. Obviously, Rassi
yeah.
Rasmus is only following one thing on Twitter at this moment, and this is obviously the
The
Azuri.
Azuri.
So let's shift our focus to this new look Springbok side. Let's
Yeah.
say this was definitely expected. I mean, look, we all knew that Rassi was going to make a couple of changes going into this week, but did we expect that many changes? I don't know.
Mm,
I think a couple of the changes was predicted by many of the pundits and many of the fans out there. But Guri, let's jump into that lineup.
mm,
Let's discuss those changes. I mean, let's just quickly first look at the forward pack. Obviously,
mm,
Buan Venter, Johan Grobler, and then also get Porthen, Zachary Porthen
mm.
getting another start in there. John Klein, Franco Mostert, Sia Kolisi, Ben Jason Dixon back in the mix, and Marco van Staren at number 8.
Mm.
What do you make of that? Will this be enough to go and manhandle Italy?
Yeah, that's a good question. The manhandle part, I think, is something that we should focus on. I think the one thing that we should be afraid of is the fact that it's a different Italy side that we're going to face this weekend than what toured to South Africa. These guys, they just rolled Australia. They are physical. They've got a forward pack that can dominate and be very disruptive at ruck time. So if there's any chance of us winning this game, it's going to start with the players with a number 1 to a number 8 on their back. And if you look at that starting front row, I mean, they've got what 15 caps between the three of them, maybe even less. So, if we have a failsafe on the bench, luckily, but it is a kind of inexperienced front row. I mean, Buan Venter was hooked off at 30 minutes last week. Rashi mentioned that he still needs to get used to the intensity of those high pressure cooker games. Didn't feel like he did bad, but obviously they see battle stats, they see different things. So I think he has another opportunity this week. With the injury to Ox, we really need him to step up. And Johan Grobler coming in as well. I think he only had 5 minutes or 6 minutes last week, but there's no cover for him unless you consider Marco van Staden being the
Yeah.
cover, which will be the
But
case.
I mean, just to interrupt you for a second there, we have to rest Marksy. Malcolm Marks, you need to give this guy a
Yeah,
break. I mean, so
absolutely.
I think that was inevitable. But obviously, if things go south, you can still have Gerard Steenkamp, Grobler, and Wilco Louw,
Mm.
it's like the Blue Bulls front row. So
Mm.
that
But
sounds pretty solid.
something that we did discuss though, yeah, before we hopped on this call was the dynamic of the pack that has now shifted a little bit, from last week to this week. In terms of our fetchers slowing the ball down, Malcolm Marks was immense. He is one of those players who can steal a ball, slow it down, as well as Jasper Wiese. Now, those roles are going to fall on different players this week, and you're going to hope that someone like Johan Grobler, as well as Marco van Staden, Ben Jason Dixon is going to have to get in there to fill that role as well, to get that job done for us and to make sure that we
Yeah,
have clean ruck ball. So
yeah, no,
big step up for
100%.
some of these players, and I think it's going to be much more difficult. So it's a potential slippery game, and hopefully we don't have too much of a hangover from last weekend. But considerable changes made would hopefully, yeah,
Yeah,
prevent
no,
that.
I mean, I would really hope so, Guri. I mean, if we look at the changes, it's almost all over the park. Lots of those players that went off early last week, you see back in the starting lineup, Damien Willemse, Siya Kolisi. So,
Mm,
Rassie always got a plan, and in that plan we trust. And if you look at that backline, I mean, Morne van der Berg, Krappies,
mm,
Andre Pollard, yes, Curtly is still in there, but then you've got Ethan Hooker, Kane Moody, Edward van der Merwe. That's all fresh blood. So
mm,
I think it's going to be very exciting because, I mean, we've also
mm,
discussed this pre-pod, but Ethan Hooker and Cannon Moody
mm.
arguably going up against probably some of the most informed centers in the world right now. I mean,
Absolutely.
these boys just manhandled Australia.
Mm. Yeah, between Menoncello and Breaks, I mean, these guys, they're not only individually great players, but they seem to have a great connection. And between the two of them, they absolutely tore Australia apart. And let's not forget that this Italian side, they are close to probably the best that they have ever been. Stephen Varney had an exceptional performance on nine last week, as well as Paolo Garbisi, who was starting to mature as an incredible game manager. He
Mm,
basically kicked Italy to victory last week.
yeah,
Australia outscored them. So it's going to be very important for us to silence that part of their game. And if you look at our backline, indeed, Morne van der Berg getting his opportunity, and Andre Pollard, I mean, just such a luxury to have a double World Cup
that's actually
winner.
crazy. Crazy.
To only have his sort of how many games have he actually played this season for the Springboks? He's allowing guys to like Sasha, like Marnie, to come into a complete different fly of Andre Pollard, right? But we'll see different tactics from the box, especially with your two tall centers in Ethan Hooker and Kanan Moody, who are phenomenal in the air. So let's not pretend like there's going to be a few high balls that
Down the middle
down the
all
middle
day
that
long.
our two centers won't go and disrupt. So it's going to be interesting to see from a tactical point of view how the Springboks are going to play. Their kicking game has been exceptional thus far. It's how we have been dominating teams. We're forcing them into mistakes. Worst case scenario, they get a scrum from a knock on from us, which we put them under immense pressure. And best case scenario, we get a scrum or we get a turnover attacking try. So it's a very complete sort of game plan that we're building, and we've shown now how we can win in different ways and how strong the mentality of the Springboks is. So
Yeah.
let's see these youngsters step up. Who are you? Are you excited to see Edward van der Merwe back?
Yeah, of course. Very excited to see Edward van der Merwe back getting another run out.
Mm,
And Guri, look, I'm really excited just to see this kind of game of the Springboks evolving. I mean, if we take Andre Esterhuizen, I just want to quickly go a bit
yeah, absolutely.
off
Let's
topic
touch on
here.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
like if you think about it, how brilliant Rassie Rasmus has been actually. I
Mm,
mean, to actually prepare for these type of scenarios in a way, like should
mm,
something happen that's unpredictable. Andre Esterhuizen played inside center when needed last week, and then he was in
mm,
the scrum when needed. You
yeah.
know, he's probably invented what is now already been discussed as a hybrid player, but he's
Mm,
invented this between forwards and backs, not a guy playing inside and outside,
mm.
center and wing, fullback and fly.
And
He's
is yeah.
he's developed a guy that's playing, in the loose in front, in the scrum, and in the back. So if you go a man down, like what has
Mm,
happened last week, I
mm.
wouldn't say he predicted this to happen, but we were prepared for it. We're extremely flexible at the moment, and they play the game, not the ref, not the decisions. The boys are really playing anything in front of them. So I think this is the most
But
complete
that
we've ever seen
is
the Springboks.
probably one of the best experiments that is starting to pay off, because Andre Israelsen isn't like, yeah, he's an average flanker and an average center. He's a world class in both of those roles. The fact that when you are on defensive scrum, that you can only use, well, then you only use seven forwards because you know that you have the power. You put Andre Israelsen in the back line for defense, and vice versa when you're on attack. That is such a strong weapon to have. And Andre Esterhuizen is just such a great player that he can perform those roles. So Indeed, I think that's probably one of the genius tactics that have very
Yeah.
much paid off. Yeah.
Yeah. But Gray, look, yeah, I mean, otherwise also, yeah, I think very strong bench. Honestly, RG, Norkia, Wilco, Gerard,
Mm,
we've discussed that. Gerard Steenkamp was brilliant off the bench. He's got actually quite a bit of experience by now. He's
yeah.
beaten the All Blacks. He knows how to do the job.
Yeah.
And then you've got obviously Andre Esterhuizen, Kwagga Smith. Kwagga Smith, need to say no more. We were surprised he was left out last week. I think they're just resting him for Ireland. And then you
Mm,
got Grant Williams and Manny Lebok.
mm,
Gary, let's talk scoreline.
yeah.
You said you think it will be a lot closer than people anticipate.
I do think so, yeah. Like I said, potential slippery game for us. So the bench would be very important. I see a 10-point victory. I wouldn't go so bullish to say more than that. But between 10, 12 points, I think that for this team with new combinations is could be a quite accurate prediction. How about yourself?
Yeah, I also honestly I don't think it will be a complete walkover. I would love it to be one, and there's always
Yeah.
a possibility. But yeah, just too many new combinations against the Italian team that's really got their tail up. So
Especially at home. They play very well
yeah.
at home. Yeah.
So I'll probably go a little bit more, let's say 15 points. But yeah,
Mm,
let's see. I would hope. I mean, look, the beginning of the year we've played them with a complete different team. They dominated us at the breakdown. I think it will be a different game. The breakdown will be competitive, and it's
mm,
going to be Italian team with a lot more fire this time around. So yeah, I do think the Boks needs to get the job done. This
mm.
Springbok era can't go and lose against Italy away. That will really just be a disgrace at this moment of time.
Yeah, not disrespecting Italy though, but yes,
Yeah, no,
Gabsy, then the,
not with what
yes,
we're busy with.
sorry, and then well, let's be honest, probably not the game of the weekend. That would go
England,
to New Zealand versus England, and I'll tell you what, England is frightening. They're a frightening team. They've got a very strong kicking game. They're also experimenting with hybrid players. They've got a very
yeah,
interesting dynamic to them, and they've got a lot of weapons around the park and some good depth. So New Zealand has got their work cut out for them.
yeah.
It's been a while since England pushed them over the line in Twickenham, but could this be the one? I think everyone is underestimating New Zealand. They slowly but
Um,
surely putting 20, 30 minutes from different games together
yeah.
to snatch games like they always do.
Guri, honestly, I've got I'm gonna make a prediction here, but I've got the Griquas function coming up, so
It's a
I've got
big
to
one.
go there in the background, hearing my dad screaming. But yeah, so no, look,
Yeah.
I really would like the All Blacks to win because
Mm.
honestly, I just don't like watching how the English fans are at the moment going
Oh,
crazy
but
because
they
they're
do love
unbeaten for
it.
so many games. They love it
Yeah.
so much. Gonna back the Southern Hemisphere. I'm gonna say the All Blacks is gonna
Mm.
do the job and settle the boys down. And yeah, I
It,
think I would really hope that to happen. Otherwise,
no.
the other games, Australia to bounce back against
It's
Ireland, not sure
tough
about
one.
that.
Yeah, and then
But yeah,
Argentina can get a win there. All right, Gabsy, I'm gonna let you go to the Griquas. Say hi to Victor Matfield for me. He
all right,
obviously
Gary.
knows the pod well. Gabsy, and then yeah, for the rest of you watching, enjoy this weekend's rugby, and yeah, we'll tune in again next week for another big one against Ireland.
Thank you, Gary.
Ciao.